He pretends not to be, but I think he's an angry guy.
Dude, seeing Trump in a gamer chair gives me so much heart. It gives me so much joy. Like him just going back and forth, side by side, just like, yes, he's angry. He's an angry little man. It's a false statement. Let's watch Patrick Bet David, and then we'll watch the video Feeding Starving Influencers with Quen.
Said he never called. They wouldn't listen to him.
Do you think he will listen to you?
When
you say just talk, when did you talk to him?
2 hours ago.
Okay.
He called me. I didn't call him. And
dude, this is the only one of these kinds of interviews that I will watch because I love Patrick Bet David.
our country has been poisoned, okay? They're all threats to our nation. She would have no idea what we're talking about.
Do you think 2024 could be one of those years that we look back and say they lost the African-American vote?
The real threat isn't global warming. The real threat is warming. Right?
That's not the question I'm asking, if I may. Just let's go in the middle of the ocean and talk. You have to set your phone.
I need someone to, when he says that, I need someone to be like, what about Israel's, what would you do if Israel decided that Iran? Like, I need this in my bones. Obviously, PBD would never ask that question, but like, I need this in my bones. I need what kind of answer. I need to know what kind of answer he would give to a question such as that. Patrick Bet David.
If I were president, that war would have never happened.
Who were really the power players? Who were the manipulators? Who were the ones that would threaten behind closed doors?
No, I don't want to put you in trouble. More beautiful than any word I know, Tara.
If I buy this in U.S. and it's made in U.S., it's $2,400.
Well, let me explain. Can you send me that chart? Look at that.
I spent some time with Bill.
He loved having you that night. You're like a psychiatrist for a lot of people. Because this stuff is very good. Well, let's end the show right now.
See, he's glazing. He loves glazing the people.
So before you watch this interview, I want to share a couple thoughts with you. For a guy like
let's
me,
go. Share those beautiful thoughts. Patrick Bet David, share the beautiful thoughts. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I need to be value-tained, man. We've watched so much death, destruction, and horrifying things that are happening all around the world. And honestly, I speak for all of us when I say I am ready, okay? I'm ready, dog. I am ready. I need it. I need to be value-tained. Please, Patrick. Please, Pat. Please, Pat. Please, Bet. Please, David. Give it to me, okay? Patrick Bet David the Trump. Are you gay? Oh, that'd be so sick.
I used to come up in business. I never liked politics. Never.
My Assyrian king, my goat.
Paid attention to it. I could care less. My parents got a divorce. I don't want to deal with it. I hate politics. Then I realized it matters to pay attention to politics. I'm starting to pay a lot of money. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is this all about? If you consider yourself the leader of your household, never has there been a more important time than today to pay attention to politics. By the way, if you love Trump and you're already committed to voting for him, you're going to love this interview because there's a lot of things he's never talked about before. If you hate Trump and nothing can change your mind, you're also going to love this interview. But if you're part of the independent, undecided voter that's sitting there saying, I really want to make up my mind of who I'm voting for, I address 3 issues. Personal life. I asked him a question at the end about personal that played a clip for him. You'll get to decide if you got emotional or not. You'll see body language for yourself and say, I've never seen this side before of him, right? I asked him questions about business. I asked him a question about when he became president, you went into the White House first. Who were the power players? Who was the most, was it director of CIA? Was it Big Pharma? Was it military? Who was it? I never thought the answer he was going to give me and what name he gave to some of the people. I've never heard him say that.
Pretending that there's people in his audience that hate Trump. Me, you, we're on the audience. We hate Trump. Yeah, we already watched this. We already watched this. You're late. I'm actually posting my version of this TikTok as well, but I don't know how to post it. I'm so bad. What? Oh, no, that's not right. How do I post TikToks? I'm about to. Earning that UNC status in real time. Yeah, I don't know how to. Just one thing at a time, my guy. I know it's too hard. I'm overwhelmed right now, but I'm posting it. But how do I add the sound? What's the song that's like post me, baby? Natalie Ann, what's the sound? Because that's the sound in the TikTok. But she sent me the original. She sent me the video baddies, right? Okay. The problem is she sent the song sent me the TikTok with the song already on it, and I feel like I need to actually. All right, I figured it out. I made it work. use Shazam or check the corner for the audio. No, I got it. I'm posting a TikTok in real time right now, bro. Watch. Save yours as a draft. Go to hers and push the sound. I did it. I posted it. Blast out the TikTok in here. It'll help with the algo. I think so. Gonna be a how do I add sound Facebook posts in 5 minutes real time. I hope I didn't get up. Okay, are you guys ready for this? I just posted the TikTok. Let's see how this works. Let's see if it shows up. Oh, it did. Okay, here it is. You're so awkward. I know. Because I am. That's the TikTok. That's it. That's all I got. At least I look jacked, though. Look at those legs, dog. I got some goddamn cannons under that Hercules skirt. This looks like an OnlyFans promo, Lamau. Skipping ankle day, I fear. Link it to boost the algo. Boom. Give it a like first. Bro, why are you pretending to be a Greek god? Your chance for that was like 20 years ago. I'd be 12 at that point. Same vibes with this TikTok.
Screen to the ring, to the pen, to the king. Where's my crown? That's my bling. Always drama when I ring.
Oh, God. Run up those numbers, chat. It's already happening. What is this?
You're so smart.
Damn, this is like from an hour ago. Girl, it's been 2 hours. I ran a TikTok after the video was posted and no edits were made, so I had to make one. That's crazy. Costume should have been one size smaller. No, I think it was a perfect size. It's a good size with this costume. It would have been too small. No calf training. Dog, I'm tall. Okay, shut up. All right. Now that I have actually posted my TikTok, my little TikTok, I've posted it. It's time for me to get back to Patrick Bet-David.
Before, he reacted to a few videos about Barack Obama. I showed him a couple charts he had never seen before, but you're going to see things that's never been discussed with him before for the first time ever in this interview. So with that being said, again,
he's going to say, please.
If you consider yourself the leader of your household, where your voice matters, your vote matters, I would pay attention to every single minute of this interview with the one and only President Donald J.
What do you mean the leader of the household?
Trump.
30 seconds.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed I could taste sweet
Wait, this is his intro song?
victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious.
Oh my God. Why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? This guy in a song said valuetainment as a bar. We got to run it back. I'm sorry.
One and only President
I got to
Donald
run it back.
J. Trump.
30 seconds.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
So we have a special guest in the house today for
That was incredible, dude. He's got MLM bars, dude. He's got pyramid scheme bars. Oh my God. I have nothing. I am nothing. This right here. This is the GOAT. This is the GOAT, dude. This is the GOAT. That's my king. We are but mere servants to him.
the podcast. We've been waiting to do this for a long time. However, whether you love him or hate him, there's one thing you have to know. In my opinion, he is the only trifecta we've ever had in the history of America. Let me tell you why I call him a trifecta. We've only had one person who's won in business and became the king of New York, became a billionaire. That's one. Two, he won in media, #1 show, Apprentice, 15 years in a row. Three, he becomes a president. So he won in business, he won in media, he won in politics. Again, there's never been a person who's done that. Like I said, whether you love him or hate him, you have to respect him. Mr. President, it's great to have you.
That was a nice introduction.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You are a one of one.
Yeah, let's end the show right now.
Okay, so I want to get right into it. I got a lot of questions I want to ask you. Some of it's personal, some of it's business, some of it's politics. But something happened last week. Barack Obama, he's at this event, he's speaking.
Right.
And he's given this message about your economy, how great the economy was. And then at the end of it, he says, you know, you didn't build that economy. I built this. I kind of want to get your reaction on this talk that he's given. Rob, if you can put that up.
And the reason some people think...
Bro didn't even wait. He came in hot. He was locked in the chamber. He had that ready to rip, dude. He's like, come on, let's start talking about Barack Obama. He's lying about saying he built the economy that's real good.
Well, I don't know. I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing except those big tax cuts.
So how do you feel about this when you see him saying this last week?
I think he's angry. He pretends not to be, but I think he's an angry guy.
Dude, seeing Trump in a gamer chair gives me so much heart. It gives me so much joy. Like him just going back and forth, side by side, just like, yes, he's angry. He's an angry little man.
He's got a little bit of an edge, and you know, he's angry about a lot of things. You look at what happened with Biden, and you look at what he did with Biden. He really hurt Biden because I'm not sure he wouldn't have imploded anyway. We had the debate, and he was down quite a bit, and they walked out, and they just took it away from him. I mean, if you think about it, that's, you know, I always say coup, but the word coup, I don't think it's accurate enough. They just walked in and took it away from him. That is a legendary thing. What he didn't.
Bro hitting the angry black man line not even 5 minutes into the debate. He did do that, but also calling this a debate is really funny. If you think like in debates, they just kiss midway through, because I suspect that this is going to, maybe they won't actually directly have their lips touch one another, but the vibes wise, it will seemingly look like that. It will feel like
he's
that.
angry now. They're all angry, the Democrats, if you think.
That's true. Okay, they did do that in the VP debate.
He's angry. They're both angry. But no, I watched that last week, and I think he spoke down to black men. I thought it was terrible the way he spoke to them. But
you think it's effective? You think he still carries the same stick as he did, you know, maybe 8 years ago or 12 years ago?
No, I don't think it is. No, I don't think he does. I think people have gotten smart. And no, I don't believe he does at all. I hadn't seen him. He's changed a lot. Visually, he's changed. I like to say visually as opposed to from the look standpoint, because, of course, looks don't matter anymore in politics, you know. You say looks don't matter. It doesn't make any difference, because we want to be politically correct, but they do matter. But he's changed. His look has changed, actually, quite a bit. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Damn, he used so many words to just say Obama got oldish, dude. He's just trying to... Also, he is the drone king, okay? He is the drone king for sure. He's a deportation king, but he's significantly better looking than Donald Trump. Like, not even a question. So on that front, it's like kind of wild to be like, Obama, the thing that he is bad at is looking good. He does not look good.
By the way, Rob, I think that's even 4 years ago. I think it's even more than it is
Well,
today.
no, but the statement he just made was a couple of days ago. And that,
yeah, it was a couple of days ago. And it's similar to the statement he made back in 2012 when he told business owners, you didn't build that. Remember when he said that? I don't know if you remember that whole comment. I think this is the speech, Rob, if you want to play this.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
So this becomes a pattern of
communism.
You see a pattern of communism there?
No, I mean, that's basically the view. You know, we didn't do anything.
Right.
Government did it. Somebody did it, but anybody but us.
Do you think this works with the undecided voter? Do you think the undecided voter that's sitting, our audience, they're entrepreneurs, they're small business owners, they're family, they have kids, they want to win, they got dreams, they want to do something. Do you think a message like that from him lands on the business owner, on the undecided voter, on the person that says, you know what, I think he's right, I'm going to go vote for him? Do you think it works?
I think you don't have that many undecided voters. I think by now you have very strong Trump voters. I don't think you have strong Democrat voters, but I don't think you have strong Kamala voters. What's to vote for? I mean, take a look. She can't do an interview. She hasn't. Has she been in here to do an interview?
No, not yet.
I don't think you'll see her. You know,
She's claiming she's going to go on Rogan.
Well, that'll be interesting. So am I.
I heard.
But
when is that going to happen? The election is like a day from now. Like, there isn't that much time remaining between now and the election. Like, how is that? Dude, next week is going to be a content. Next week's about to be crazy if they do it next week, I suspect. Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, it shouldn't be this way. Let me just explain to you something, okay? It shouldn't be. What I'm about to describe to you is the reality, and it shouldn't be the reality. But I do legitimately think this double Rogan header for Kamala and Donald Trump is going to be significant. And that, to me, is devastating about the future of American politics. I know a lot of people that have brought up in totally random, irrelevant conversations that they are waiting to see what the Joseph Robinette Rogan conversation is going to look like. Like what that podcast is going to look like. That's how stupid the median voter is in general. Okay? Considering the track record of Trump in moments like this versus someone like Kamala Harris, like, I can't believe the keys are in the hands of a toe-shaped man who very famously used to deny that the moon landing happened, and now has become an anti-vaxxer, like an actual ape man. Oh, you gotta enjoy the show. Honestly, you just, if you can't really change the outcome, the trajectory, if you can't do anything about American politics, the least you could do is at least, like, you know, watch the doom and enjoy it as it's happening, I guess.
I think I am. I don't know. I think so. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens today with Brett Baer. You know, Brett's two people. He can be very nice, or he can be himself.
He was tough on you. If he's tough on her the way he was tough on you, he was very tough on you.
He was always nasty to me. And
right.
I don't think he'll be tough on her. I don't think he'll be.
He was wrong.
Fox is a very disappointing thing. During the day, Fox is just terrible.
During the day, Fox is very disappointing. At night, that's when they thrive. That's when I like them. I love it.
Well, and but
I want to show something with this. When you look at this whole Barack Obama thing, I think the one thing they don't show, you were talking yesterday, I think it was the Bloomberg event, which, by the way, I loved. Yeah. I love the way you handled the whole terrorist conversation. That was a great event.
I got hoodwinked to go on that. You know, I was supposed to make a speech in front of the Chicago Economic Club, which is a big deal, you know, which is a very prestigious place, beautiful. Everything was beautiful. And all of a sudden, I understand I'm being interviewed by this gentleman, and he's got a reputation for being about, I'd love to see him do Kamala. He should do Kamala. That would be beautiful. But he's a tough cookie, and he's the chairman of Bloomberg. He's a big so all of a sudden I'm being interviewed, and I wasn't happy about it because I found out that he is, you know, his reputation precedes him. And but I decided to do it. You know, you have a choice: walk out and don't do it and have a scandal, or go in and do it and hopefully win, or you go in and do it and you get, which is probably the worst, but. It was a great interview, actually, and he was nasty, but he wasn't overly nasty to me. I mean, other people thought he was. I thought nastier was David Muir when he kept interrupting me during the debate and saying false things, like when I said his way up, and he said no.
His beautiful face, David Muir. I hate him. He's nasty, but also beautiful. A handsome man, right? Straight out of Central Casting. I hate him. I hate his stupid face. I want to kiss his lips.
No, it's down. I said, you're wrong about that. It's up. And then 2 days later.
No, it was not up. It's down. Why? This is what I mean, okay? Get ready for this. And it will be entirely because of Kamala Harris. If this wins, I cannot stress this enough. If this wins, get ready for this for the next 4 years. And it will be entirely the fault of Kamala Harris and her dog campaign, okay? She had every opportunity to win this race, and she still, if she fails, oh my Lord, dude, every goddamn day of the week, people are going to be saying the absolute worst, most nonsensical, with the seriousness that with the arrogance and seriousness, oh my God. It's going to literally just be like, The Democrats are going to run the table. Hasan, there was some I saw magats spreading on Twitter about how FBI numbers got revised to plus 4.5 instead of 2.7 or something as evidence they're fudging the numbers. Every week they invent a new talking point for this, and I don't know which one this one might be, but the original talking point was when FBI started doing a national database compilation, and they changed some of the designations for their database. But that was in like 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And they constantly point to that to be like, oh, actually, FBI is fake, and they're lying about the numbers. The reality of the matter is numbers come from local police departments. Okay, the FBI tries to compile it. Some police departments actually give all of the data to the FBI. Some do not. But it doesn't matter. Ultimately, there are plenty of national databases that track numbers that the police departments, local police departments, which are like 90% Trump supporters, by the way, those guys are the ones who are giving all of the data, conviction rates, arrest rates, all of that. Some might not offer demographic data beyond that. Some might keep that private. Others won't. Doesn't really matter. Ultimately, the broader statistic is obviously meticulously tracked. Okay? And those numbers show that it's down in urban cities, in big cities. Why is it down? Because it was never across the board up to begin with. There was a brief increase in the aftermath of the COVID lockdowns ending. Okay. But beyond that, the only part of that was actually up were homicides. Okay. This is a pretty significant thing. It's a pretty significant type of homicides across the board are now down as well. Okay. You can literally look at local departments in every single municipality and figure out if it's up or down in your neighborhood. I do not know why Americans just don't simply do this and instead rely on the television man telling them that it's up and that there is a tremendous amount of happening everywhere. This is precisely the reason why the attitude towards is also tracked and polled with regular frequency. And Americans very consistently say, is actually down in my neighborhood, but elsewhere, it feels like it's really high. That is the most consistent American message on. They know that there's no, or at least the same level of in their neighborhood, and it's like managed and it's manageable. They trust their local police departments, but when asked, they always think, oh, it's happening somewhere else. This is a direct consequence of mainstream media regularly running bottom lines, headlines, regularly lying and claiming that is just a complete out of control, a panic thing that is happening in America. It's like there's in every corner. Oh, see the biased coverage? FBI revised data to show offenses rose rather than drops report. The FBI revised, this is 2022, not 2021, showing a 4.5% rise in offenses instead of a decrease. Researchers criticized the FBI for lack of transparency, said the revised data harms the Bureau's credibility. We're looking at where this information was revealed, and it is 94% leans right from the Gateway Pundit and InfoWars down to Straight Arrow News, the Express Tribune and Vin News, New York Post, Washington Examiner, Just the News. Now, but that's not alone. That's not enough. That's not enough to say like, oh, this is like stupid. Oh, it's really biased. Of course it's biased. These guys are doing propaganda. The issue is, it is exactly what I was telling you, which is that no, it's not up now. It's down. It's down from 2022, but it doesn't matter. And the only reason why the offenses rose, specifically homicides in 2022, is because the FBI, I think, changed something in their in the way that they compile this information, and that's it. However, is still down. It's down from 2022. It's down from 2023. Its latest report shows that fell by an estimated 3% between 2022 and 2023. For a non-negligent manslaughter reduced by 12%, the largest drop in the last 20 years. The report also falls in rape by 9%, robbery by 0.3%, aggravated assault by 3%. In 2023, the FBI recorded a rate of 363.8 per 100,000 people, which is like insanely high for an OECD nation, but doesn't matter. As opposed to the 2022 rate of 377.1 per 100,000 people. Now, the interesting part about this is if you look at it from 2000 onward, oh my God, what are we looking at here? What are we looking at? Here, I'll show you how they do this. Okay, are you ready for this? How do I want to, okay, let's just save it. Okay. Oh no, it just saves as a web page. God damn it. I just want the photo. I want the image. Okay. Snipping tool. I don't want to snip it. Okay. Whatever. Here's how people look at it just for this dumbass meme that I want to show you. Okay. Now, when you look at this here, do you notice something here from 2000 to 2022? What does this show you? What does this show you? No, you can't right click and open a new tab. What does this show you? Oh, that's right. It's still going down. If you expand on this data and take it all the way back to like the 1980s, it is going even further down. Now, having said that, how does the media report on this matter? Well, let me tell you how the media reports on this matter. They do one of these, okay? Wait, how do I zoom into this? They do one of these and they go, "Look how much has gone up! Oh no! It's out of control, brother!" They did that right here, okay? They literally did that, okay? When you look at the chart like this, I can't zoom in any further and I can't move it any further, unfortunately. When you look at it like right here, okay? When you look at it right here, how do you crop the image? Okay, there it is. There, I did it. Whatever. You get the point, okay? You get the point I'm making, which is when you hyper focus on a brief increase in, it causes you to not recognize what is actually happening in the country. People do this all the time. Now with Donald Trump, in the case of Donald Trump, he doesn't even do that. He just lies. He's just like, they're not even like lying by omission. Okay? They're not even lying by omission. What are they doing? They're doing straight lying, which is a new thing. Okay? It's much simpler. It's much easier to understand. Yep, here's the other graph. There you go. There's a change in the survey design. Is going down from 1995 consistently until the 2020s, late into the 2020s. What is this, brother? It's time. If I had to choose, which would you choose? Harris voters, 43%, communism, fascism, 11%. Trump voters, fascism, 28%, communism, 16%. This is actually a noticeable. First of all, what the? 11% of Harris voters said they would choose fascism over communism. But also, this is low. This is low, man. 28% for Trump voters. They're literally voting directly for fascism. At least with Harris voters, like, they're not voting for communism. They're voting for a lighter version of this. But this is directly, you're voting for fascism. It should be 100%. Not that it matters at all, because obviously Americans don't know what either of those words mean. All right, let's continue. What those numbers show is that there's some serious cognitive dissonance because they don't recognize fascism when they're complicit in it. Yeah. What do longer term trends show? FBI data shows the rate fell by a quarter over the past 2 decades. On the reduction of Professor Flannery says it's partly because we're getting better at understanding what drives, which tends to be a smaller number of people in a community committing repeat offenses. It's also about targeted policing strategy and intervention. Mark Levin, chief policy counsel at Council Justice, says that the other factors may be influential in bringing levels down. We don't know all the reasons it fluctuates, but some of it is obviously demographic. We're an aging society, which generally speaking should lead to less. There's also environmental factors like street lighting, which help with prevention. Evidence suggests it makes the potential perpetrators. Do you think the FBI is lying? Dude, that is not... What? Have you reported that cops do nothing? That was in COVID time, dude. Do you think the FBI is lying? Dog, this is not about the FBI. This is just... Oh my God. Okay. I think we are, again, not understanding how any of this works, okay? And this is how Republicans thrive. Okay, this is how Republicans thrive. Now, the question is, how is this data being compiled? The FBI does not have the capacity to just like massage the numbers. They are looking at the data and compiling it. It's not just the FBI, as a matter of fact. Many other national organizations also do this. There are numerous other ways of doing this as well, including the National Victimization Survey that goes and asks a statistically appropriate number of Americans that represent the entire public in the way that these surveys, these polls are conducted, and ask them whether they've been victims of and whether they reported these offenses to help to the police. In 2023, only around half of them did. As recorded by the survey includes rape or sexual assault, robbery, aggravated assault, or simple assault. It does not count. Donald Trump regularly highlights this survey as proof that nationwide is up 40% since 2020. The figure is right according to the latest survey statistics. They show that the rate of per 1,000 of the population did increase by this much between 2020 and 2023. These are the ways in which people log This is how they try to track how is happening in the country, in the nation. Be 100% honest. Do you believe Trump will win? I think that there is a decent likelihood that Trump could win. Submitting data to the FBI is voluntary, and in recent years, some police forces have not done this. Okay, here. In 2023, the FBI recorded a rate of, we already covered that. Previously, the figure showed 2.1% fall over this period. Now the agency says there was a 4.5% rise. The FBI did not publicize this change, which has led to some criticism. Amy Grauert, a researcher at the Brenner Center for Justice, told BBC Verified that the revision was likely a result of the change in the way that the FBI collected data in 2021. Remember when I told you that? Nothing here undermines confidence in the 2023 data, he argues. Submitting data to the FBI is voluntary, and in recent years, some police forces have not done this. However, it does not matter. For example, the LAPD doesn't, I think, participate in the FBI National Database compilation, and neither does the NYPD. But you know what they do actually participate in? Revealing their data on their own, which means that everyone can go and look at it and then add it on to the overall FBI National Incident-Based Reporting System if they choose to do so, which they do. In 2021, the participation rate was around 2/3 because many agencies, including NYPD, like I said, in Los Angeles, did not submit data to the new FBI system. And Donald, and his website says, is missing nearly 1/3 of the nation's law enforcement agencies, including from many of the most cities such as Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, and New Orleans. But participation has steadily improved, and in 2023, more than 85% of agencies enrolled in the FBI's data collection system, and they submitted figures. The FBI says every city agency covering a population of 1 million or more residents contributed a full 12 months of data in 2021. Daniel Flannery, a professor specializing in prevention research, says that generally it is the smaller agencies that do not submit data. Many of them don't have their own data people. Suburban and rural communities tend to be the ones not submitting the data because they lack resources. Okay? However, Trump is making a comparison with a year when, as measured by the survey, was significantly lower. Professor Flannery says picking a year during COVID that many represent the lowest rates and then comparing to a more return to normal year cherry picks the 2 points in time. Comparing 2023 to a pre-COVID year may be more appropriate. The survey says that while the 2023 rate was higher than those in 2020 and 2021, it was not statistically different from 5 years ago in 2019. As in, victimization survey also points to a normalized rate when there were no lockdowns, just so you understand. So Donald Trump sometimes straight up lies. Other times he does the old school version of lying, which is omitting details, omitting key data points, or at least massaging the numbers in a way that makes him look good, I guess. But that is what it is. FBI data shows the rate fell by a quarter over the past 2 decades on the reduction of, we already talked about this. Why is this data useful when it doesn't include the biggest cities? Because it does not matter, because the biggest cities' rates are independently still logged. That is the point. Oh my God. It does not. Do you think that the Los Angeles Police Department and the New York Police Department are not revealing their own personal local law enforcement data? They are. They're just not revealing all of the details. They're not revealing all of the details to the FBI. But if you look at national resources that track all of this and compile it, you can see that the dip in is consistent there as well. Oh, why not though? I don't know. I don't know why they don't do that. I don't know why they don't give FBI every single piece of data. Okay. But like there are, you see, LAPD releases end of year statistics for the city of Los Angeles in 2023. In 2023, there were 327 homicides, which is a 17% reduction in homicides compared to 2022. Same in Philadelphia, same in New York. Everywhere you go in all these big cities, if you personally thought that these massive departments, like, did you for a moment think that the Los Angeles Police Department is not revealing their data? Like, we just don't know. We just make it up on our minds. No, of course they reveal their data. Of course. Hasan's FBI handler, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I will continue defending the FBI vociferously. Oh my God. Think about how long it took for me to respond to Donald Trump's very obvious, very silly little lie where he was like, is up. I don't give a shit. You're lying. That's all he said. He said, is up. And look how long it took for me to describe to you once again that no, it is not up. Not in these big cities and not up nationally. And yet Americans still think it's up. Why is that an inconsistency? It's because there aren't that many people like myself out there in mainstream media going, you guys are wrong. It's actually down. It is not up. Trump has captured the not looking into it crowd. I think we are all the not looking into it crowd. We are all that crowd now, okay? Everyone in America is that crowd for whatever thing suits their cognitive biases, whatever makes them feel comfortable in their idiocy, okay? It's down, but Americans don't seem to think so. At least they think it's up somewhere, okay? It's not. What is this TikTok?
Breaking news. This is pretty crazy. There was
Yeah, we already covered this earlier. All right, let's continue.
Later came out
That's right.
I mean, to me, that was much this gentleman, but it was really a study of business. It was a detailed study of business.
You're talking about with the Bloomberg one?
With the Bloomberg,
Right.
and people loved it.
I agree. The tariff one. And the one thing I wanted to show is the following. So you know how you talked about Jerome Powell, what an easy job. You come once a month and he said, we're going to increase the rates.
Greatest job there is.
I think this is the one thing they don't talk about. So Barack Obama got elected November 4th. Okay, quantitative easing started November 26th.
Right.
And it stayed.
Wait, I wonder if something happened in that time frame. Wait, go back to that. What happened? What happened when Barack Obama was first elected? What was he being elected on? Like, what was he coming off the heels of? I wonder.
Quantitative easing started
Nothing,
November,
right? I mean, nothing significant happened in 2008, right? No, like meltdown of the American economy at all, right? That's like no crisis whatsoever.
November 26th.
Right.
And it stayed for 8 years until you got elected.
Right.
So if you look at that low, pretty much 0% interest rate,
Right.
and then you get elected, right? If you go to January 2016, Rob, for the audience to see that. And then from there, one by one, rates are going up. And then Biden comes in, goes back down to zero to try to save the economy. And then, the rest is obviously history.
Right.
But do you think the average person knows, like, the impact of going to 0%? How much does that positively help the impact when Fed lowers the rates to 0.5 point?
Yeah, it has a huge impact. The power of the Fed is, I think, pretty strong. Some people disagree with it. They think it's overridden by the interest rate climate. But I think the power of the Fed is very strong. It's an interesting graph, actually.
Yeah, it's an interesting graph because you were still president in the graph. But neither of you guys seem to recognize that. Also, what's the argument? That the Fed is actually in the pocket of the Democratic establishment? Is that what it is? Like, what are they trying to say here?
Yeah, this just shows that the rates.
Also, this is kind of stupid because Donald Trump does want to control the Fed. Like, he directly wants to control it. That is one of the things that he has said. He is running on that. He is saying, like, no, I want to retain full control over it.
Didn't help you. When he says it was.
Well, they didn't use them to help me.
Right.
And Powell, I gave him a hard time because he was raising them. And I was never a big fan of his. He was late and he was early. He was too early and too late, But I had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Despite that, this is another thing I can say, despite the fact that they weren't very high, but they were, reasonably high. And despite the rates not being at zero, I had a pretty good, we had a great run.
Following up on the Barack Obama question, when I think about the 2024 election, I saw some numbers that came out, which I thought was fascinating.
Right.
Rob, if you can pull this up from CNN. So this is CNN reporting on this just 2 days ago. Okay, Barack Obama, when it comes down to black men ages 18 to 44, he was up 81 points in November of 2012. Hillary was up 63 when she went against you.
Yeah.
Biden was up 53. Kamala, who is apparently black, she's up 41. And
what do you mean by apparently?
I mean, that's what they're telling us. We're supposed to believe she's black.
No,
and
it's much better that.
What the? Yo, people are way too comfortable being ridiculous, dude. People are way too comfortable with this. Like, people should feel less comfortable saying like this. Patrick Bet David.
No. See, I would never say a thing like that. But you said don't explain.
Oh, I would never say anything like that. You did say that. He's saying that because he wants you to say it again so we can have a clip. Call him the clip, a.k.a. Faye's Stable Ronaldo, the way he's trying to clip you. That is why he said the thing that you had said prior, because he wants you to say it. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at Patrick Bet David's please say it, Mr. President face. He's doing that right now.
Explain what you mean. No, I don't want to put you in trouble.
Yeah, apparently. Well, I
was going to throw it onto your shoulders. Apparently, well, no, you could explain it because I understand.
I'm very comfortable explaining it because overnight, she's doing a show. She's supposed to be Indian, and then all of a sudden now it's black, but it's not landing with the average American. So if you look
and
at,
do you think black men? That's why she's not doing well.
Well, watch this.
Some people say that.
In 2016, you had 13%
right.
of male black voters 18 to 44. Right. In 2020, you had 18%. In 2024, you're at 26%. It's doubled in 8 years.
It's kind of crazy how polarized American politics is, though, because like this conversation is so nutty. It's an insane conversation to have. Like whether Kamala Harris is a black person or not would not even be a normal conversation that should exist. And yet here we are where people are just like having this conversation, having this back and forth. And it's partially because Donald Trump launched it. I think it goes to show that like the bully pulpit is still profoundly powerful, especially when it comes to, undermining marginalized communities in general, or especially when it corresponds to like pre-existing social forms of oppression. Like this is unacceptable. It is transparently ridiculous. It is.
The question I'm asking you is the following. Back in 1960,
right,
64% of African Americans would vote Democrat.
Right.
The other was pretty much conservative. African Americans have historically been very conservative.
Okay.
Barry Goldwater, the issue happens, 1964.
Right.
It goes from 64% Democrat to 92%. And it's been between 85 to 92% since 1964, right? You've come in and you've shaken things up. Do you think 2024 is going to be one of those moments where African-American men, they're like, listen, I'm sick and tired of Democrats feeling like they own me. I think I'm going to go to the other side. Do you think 2024 could be one of those years that we look back and say they lost the African-American vote?
They really lost it for a while, the Republicans. I mean, it started, I guess, with Barry Goldwater, if you look at the charts.
Yeah, Patrick, but yeah, what happened? What happened back then where they lost the African-American vote? Barely different than mainstream coverage. This CNN discussion goes completely off the rails when radio host Shiley Winter says this race is between House African Americans and field African Americans, and the field African Americans are going for Donald Trump. What the bro? Dude, and I had this exact same conversation yesterday, not on these boundaries, of course, but the fact that people will start saying this on the main, like there is a permission structure that is given to Americans that are waiting for any and every opportunity to just pop the off, saying some of the most insane, okay? It's just like everyone is just like turning the knob. Yeah, right next to Islamophobia, brother, starting to start blaming minorities so liberals can feel comfortable. Dude, it's nuts, dude. It is nuts. It was the underlying, unexamined, relatively stale Islamophobia post 9/11 in the United States of America that had like kind of been cast aside, but we never really talked about it. And then boom, everyone was like, "Oh no, we're tuned. We're ready. We're ready to rip. We're ready to let it rip, dude."
In chief of Bloomberg. I want to move on to what Donald Trump has said about an issue near and dear to both of your hearts, the issue of black Americans and Latino voters. Kamala Harris has been doing interviews on black media. Trump, though, is overperforming in polling with both groups compared to past Republicans. Here is what he said when he was campaigning in Pennsylvania.
Any African American or Hispanic, and you know how well I'm doing there, that votes for Kamala, you got to have your head examined because they are really screwing you. They are really screwing you.
It is Kamala, for the record, but he is denigrating voters for making a choice that he does not like.
Kamala.
Shelley, to you, what does he achieve with this?
Well, how is it? Wait, first of all, how is he denigrating voters?
He's saying that they are being...
He's about to pop off big time, dude.
For lack of a better word, screwed.
Taken advantage of. They're being taken advantage of. They're paying higher pricing. They're working class, the ones that he's talking about, working class.
That's my barber dog. Oh God.
lower middle class. They're paying more for food. They're paying more for gas, and they're being taken advantage of.
But
and
Shelley,
over the course of 30 years, they voted.
He also said that they, that they had to have their head examined. That is not something that is a compliment.
Obama just told me the same thing. Obama just told me the same thing. I've got black women telling me I'm not really he inferred them. He implied them. He certainly did. He even threatened us with, "You're lucky Michelle's not here." I mean, come on. Let's not make things up. Let's be honest here, and let's really be clear what's being said. If you're an African-American man, look, let me boil this election down in the African-American community to a very simple a reference to great Malcolm X. This between House African-Americans and field African-Americans. And the field African-Americans...
He invoked Malcolm X to talk about voting for the Republican Party. Like, he wasn't just, he was using the Malcolm X quote. That makes it even worse. That's crazy. Don't have internet.
Going for Donald Trump. I'm talking about your men. I'm talking about your men who build, your men who put things together, your men who work with their hands, your men who do things, not the men who push paper, or the men who are connected to power and want to continue to be connected to power. I'm talking about the men and women in our community who are actually doing the work.
African American men who are professionals who work in white collar jobs? Is that what I'm hearing from you? Or
no,
I'm just trying to understand. Is Shelley
No, what he said is like almost worse. Like he's just saying that, like, he's saying that if you are a collaborator with the Republican Party, that you are actually fighting against white supremacy. Whereas if you are voting for the Democratic Party, you are collaborating with if black conservatives are comfortable saying stuff like this on CNN, though, like, oh God, white people are going to get way, way, way more aggro.
What I'm doing
one or the field one? I'm just trying to understand that part.
In my office a number of weeks ago, and I needed votes, and I got it done. It'll be nice to watch somebody really say something nice about your husband. I said that to Melania, and I said, watch this. And they got up and they spoke, but Van Jones got up, and it was a little... I don't get too embarrassed. He got up, he thanked this one, he thanked that one, he thanked this one, that one, that one. The only one he didn't thank was Donald Trump.
How dare you? How dare you? Not thanking Donald Trump. I'm the reason why justice reform happened. They didn't thank me, folks.
And I look at that now and I say, he's got bad way. I looked at him. Then I saw him last night, and he was on CNN, which is dying, by the way, in the ratings, because they have people like him on. And I watched him last night say how he hopes I'll be defeated. And we should defeat him. We have to fight him. He shouldn't be allowed to be. And I said, normally I'd say I wish I had that vote back, but I did the right thing.
What?
Why do I think he praised you? Why do I think he got emotional crying?
No.
Giving you credit about what you did.
I don't know. All I can tell you is he was crying in my office. That's probably what you heard. Before he got it, he was crying. He was literally, they went over to him with handkerchiefs. He was crying. Tears were pouring down his eyes before, but after he wasn't crying, not that I know. But so he didn't mention me the night of the news conference. He was leading the news conference, and I don't need it. I get mentioned plenty of times, et cetera, et cetera. But I watched last night. It's a good place to say this, actually. It's better than writing out a truth, whatever. But I watched last night, and I watched him talk about how I must be defeated. I'm a bad guy or something. And
Van Jones is saying this.
Yeah. He said it last night. I saw him last night. I don't watch CNN. Honestly, I don't watch it. But I happen to be, I'm passing it, and I see him on, and I watched him talking about essentially negative about me. What difference does it make? Nobody cares what they do. They've been fighting me for years, and, I became president. I did much better the second time than I did the first, and now I'm doing it the third time. And if the election's not rigged, we're going to win. If it is rigged, I guess that's a different story, but we'll find out pretty soon. But
I love whenever he says this, like, liberals get so scared. I might be wrong on this. But I don't think that a January 6th will happen again. in a post-January 6th universe. And that is because a lot of the HVAC business owners and the small business, like the Adolf, the little of the American heartland that flew into the Capitol, ever thought that they would see any sort of repercussions from the justice system. And the fact that they did is the reason why a lot of that momentum was cut aside. There's a couple different reasons as to why I don't think so. Well, one, because Americans are too individualistic and too predisposed with commodity consumption to like actually build any sort of like militia movement, like a real organized militia movement. Okay. So that's number one. Like, we are too capitalist to be even, at least at this stage, like to be openly, like to care about a higher order of society. This isn't to say that like is good or anything like that. I'm just saying that like we're as a nation, we are far too sedated and far too servile and far too comfortable. So that's number one. Number two, more significantly, people seemingly forget that January 6th wasn't simply conducted by Donald Trump. A lot of people have hyper-focused on Donald Trump because he was culpable, for sure. That much is an absolute, that much I'm absolutely certain on. But they forget that like every part of the Republican Party's institutions, their machine was also there. Turning Point USA, the Koch brothers and all of their subsidiary groups were busing people and flying people into DC. That got cut instantly post January 6th when they recognized like, oh, we might actually face some legal repercussions for this. They didn't get any punishments for it, but I think it was a mistake that they did not want to repeat. And that's why you saw a lot less people at his rallies post January 6th. I'm done. You're constantly on every person in the developing world. What? I'm done standing up for this, you piece. You're constantly shitting on every person in the developing world. Play DBZ Sparkling Zero or you're literally starving the gaming frogs in every developing state. Okay, I'll allow that bait. Anyway, I think, maybe due to the short-term memory that Americans have, specifically American hogs, maybe they'll forget that like 1,600 people were successfully prosecuted and are serving their prison sentences right now for the committed on January 6th. Maybe they've forgotten about that, but I think that was the first time that like any sort of deterrence actually kicked in for a lot of these people that never really thought that the American police would ever be at odds with them, if that makes sense. So I think the likelihood of a second January 6th is far less post January 6th.
But I watched this guy last night against me, even if he was a little against me, but he wasn't. He was like, we have to defeat Trump. We have to defeat him. And I've watched him a little bit over the years, and every time I watch him, I say, what a he is, what a bad guy. But I did it for black people. I did it for, it was purely, the only people that told me about justice reform were African Americans, that's all. And I did it for them. I also did historically black colleges and universities, and I got them financing. I would see the heads of...
I don't know if I'm crazy about this, but I think Donald Trump historically offered significantly less money to HBCUs than Barack Obama and also Joe Biden, like way lower. So I don't know why he always talks about like, oh, I gave so much money to those black colleges. Like, it's very weird. Maybe he just thought it was any money was too much money.
Colleges come down after 2 years. They would come to Washington like 45, 50 people, a group. They'd always come in a big group. And
he gave $500 million to HBCUs. Obama was $4 billion. And I think Joe Biden also has given like $3.
To know him a little bit because they had to come through my office to get funding. And after the second time, I said to him, why do you keep coming down here for funding? Don't they give you? He said, no, they make us feel like beggars. That was the term. And a couple of them I got really frustrated. Some of them I still see a little bit. And I said, what does that mean? He said, every year we come down for funding for the black colleges and universities. And they play a great role, a very important role, in my opinion. So I said, so you mean every year you come down? We do. We come down together and we go and see senators and congressmen, and we try seeing a president. But I got to know him, and I said, this is no way to live where you come down. And I ended up getting them more money than they even wanted. And I got it done, and I got it long term. And I said, fellas, I just got this done for you. And I want to tell you a little secret. I'm unhappy about it. They said, why? I said, because I'll probably never see you again. You'll never come down to Washington to see me. And I meant it actually in a friendly way, because I got used to seeing them. They were always coming down looking for money. I took care of their needs long term, more money than they wanted. I said, you're going to need more money than that. And I got it for them. And I think that's why black men really like me. And I think black women.
Yeah, the black men that really like Donald Trump they really like him because he gave money to HBCUs. Like, no, dude, I mean, not that it matters. Neither of these people understand black Americans or black culture or anything like that, because so why try to understand the black community? But it's quite literally the opposite. It is actually in the same exact way. When you look at educational attainment in every community, black men without a college degree are going towards Donald Trump. People who went to HBCUs are significantly more likely to vote for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. What the fuck is this? Like, what is this statement? It's actually the same exact demographic that is across the board going to Trump by wide numbers. And ironically enough, for black men, it's a much, much smaller percentage. It's a much smaller percentage of black men that are saying they would vote for Donald Trump over white men that are saying that white men without a college degree that are saying they would vote for Donald Trump over Hispanic men without a college degree that are saying they would vote for Donald Trump.
Women do too, but they have a woman who is black, although you would say she's Indian, but she is black. But she really, a lot of people didn't know.
He's woke. He's correcting Patrick Bet David.
No, which is true. But
I learned about it just a couple months ago. The fact
that she's black,
yeah.
Or that she's Indian.
I thought she was Indian until a couple months ago. Things change.
A lot of people. Well,
because if you follow baseball, Sammy Sosa kind of, you sometimes have to respect people. They change, right? So I thought maybe she was.
That's crazy. Again, I am not a fan of Kamala Harris. Okay, I hate the Democratic Party, but this kind of sentiment is so insanely gross. It is so much worse than just like the duopoly or the conversation of who you're going to vote for. This is some straightforward, unrestricted race. Okay. Oh, yeah. Our lies about Kamala Harris being black recently, when she has grown up as a black woman in America, is akin to Sammy Sosa is nutty, which is ironic because he also is specifically not really respecting Sammy Sosa at all either. It's just like, oh yeah, remember when Sammy Sosa changed his race by doing skin lightening? Like that's, it's just like Kamala Harris, haha. It's like, no, man, like there was never a moment where Kamala Harris was not a black woman. Like, what the fuck you invented this idea. And now you are going along with like additional jokes about it.
Was doing a Sammy Sosa the other way.
Yeah, Sammy's changed.
Right.
People change.
If you remember Sammy Sosa.
He could hit the ball.
He could hit the ball 66 home runs.
Seriously,
yes.
he was.
But I want to show you this. And by the way, the only reason I want to show you this is because I think Van Jones is scared of giving you credit. This is what Van Jones said after.
Yeah, I mean, also Sammy Sosa and his attitude about having dark skin is also another product of like existing in an overwhelmingly white supremacist society. But we're not going to get into colorism and whatnot or internalize anti-blackness. That's also a separate issue. But once again, it's just like he's just like lightheartedly throwing that as like a haha joke.
After what you did, and it was the most uncomfortable moment on CNN because he had to thank you. If you can play this clip, Rob, I think this is the clip. Go for it.
How significant do you think this is? By the way, one of your partners in working on this was Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner, who's
This is how many years ago? This is
the date on
29.
this 5 years ago, December 18th, 2018.
Okay, play the clip.
So you just got that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is 6 years ago. If you can play this clip.
father went to prison and who fought on this as hard as that. This is history. This is history. Right now, you're witnessing history on the floor of the U.S. Senate. There's a Christmas miracle underway where, for the first time in a generation, Republicans and Democrats are arm in arm tonight saying, we are sending too many people to prison. They're coming out bitter and not better. We want to make a tremendous difference. I want to say Hakeem Jeffries on the left, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump on the right have brought together a coalition like I've never seen.
This directly counters Donald Trump's statements, doesn't it? Also, it's not shocking because Van Jones is like annoying as he would do this. He probably has glazed Donald Trump unnecessarily. This is like a valid reason to say nice things about him, but he's probably glazed them in other parts of CNN, in other parts of the CNN broadcast before and after this as well. After all, mainstream media, I remember, would do this where they'd be like, this is the moment Trump became president, you know? He's so presidential. Like, I remember all that. I'm sure that Van Jones probably played a role in that as well. I would not be surprised.
Literally, the National Association of Manufacturers, Fox News,
I never saw
and
that
Sean
one.
Yeah, I'm glad you've seen it because to me, you see, when I think about him, obviously, you know, his history. He was close to Obama, communist, all that stuff. He had to kind of drop. But at the same time, they don't want him saying something like this. I want to give Hakeem Jeffries, Jared, and you to give that credit. This is the part where even Dems are sitting there saying, how the hell do we argue against the fact that a Republican president that we're not supposed to like did this? Cut him off. Just give him 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Let's go to the next topic to bash him again. But it was kind of great to see Van Jones saying this about you.
It was, but again, right after that, it was over.
He has to go back. So he has to go back and say things
and
about you.
A real man would not have done that. And I'm glad I saw that. But it really doesn't mean anything because he said it, and then after that, he took it back.
I want to show you something, and this kind of goes maybe to the next point. So yesterday, a new Gallup poll came out. Okay, if you look at this Gallup poll, this is literally from yesterday. Americans' trust in mass media from 72 to 2024. It officially hit the lowest in the history. We're talking ever. Not one of the lowest. This is the lowest ever in the history of America. Americans don't trust mass media anymore. And even recently, I don't know if you saw the numbers that came out 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you follow some of this stuff. Every one of the guys at CNN, MSNBC, they're all getting a lower salary when they're renewing their contract.
Right,
they're not getting paid the kind of money
that.
they were making.
Yeah.
And by the way, you may not like me saying this to you, but I think I kind of want to see your reaction to this. I know a lot of people will say, well, you know, he has, XYZ amount of felonies charged, 91, 53 were dismissed, 32 is this, and 12 are the ones that are remaining. I think the only one that Letitia James, Jack Smith, and maybe even Fannie, if they wanted to, claim that you did commit is you kind of did mainstream media, if you think about it.
I did.
And that could be a crime for those guys.
I'm very proud of it.
And I want to show you this clip because this is the first time ever the phrase fake news was ever used. And from this moment on is when the decline started. Rob, if you can go on and play this clip.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect. Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization.
Wait, nah, he didn't invent that, bro. He did not invent that, dog. I'm going to tell you who did. Okay? He wasn't the guy who invented that, okay? Let me tell you. He didn't invent Make America Great Again. He didn't invent America First. And he certainly did not invent fake news, lying news. I'm just saying.
A chance to ask a question, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically,
She's asking a question. Don't
Mr.
be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not
Go ahead.
appropriate.
So if you can,
But
posit
isn't
there.
that disgusting? Think of it, and that would never happen to a Democrat. But isn't that disgusting? He's a lowlife, the guy, and as you know, and he has his own show. He gets no ratings at all. Nobody on CNN gets ratings. But isn't that a disgusting? You know, I'm just watching that, and isn't it a shame that people can behave that way against the president? You know, and I think I think I'm responsible for those numbers up there where they went down. And frankly, I'm proud of it because I also am responsible for the term fake news. And that's a great term, but it's not strong enough. I think it's corrupt news is a better term, but it doesn't play as well. But they're corrupt people and disgusting people. But he is, he wasn't as bad as some. I mean, in a certain way, he was louder, but he wasn't as smart as some. I mean, some are much smarter. He's not as smart.
Did you think you were going to say fake news, or was it just kind of came out and then it stuck? You're like, this is going to stick. Was it intentional?
I don't know if that's the first time I've used it, but I do get credit for having been an originator of the term. I mean, you know, a lot of times I have a very fertile mind. I come up with very good names for people.
You're very creative.
Pocahontas.
What the fuck?
Lots of good names.
I have a very fertile mind.
No, that's the first time, but I thought of that term often, and more so as I was running. You know, I actually used to get great press when I was an entrepreneur. I would get very glamorous press, very beautiful press.
Mm-hmm.
I went the exact opposite, and I was amazed. And I really learned how corrupt it was. I didn't think of it as that corrupt because, you know, I'd do something and they give me credit. But no, I had a very different life, actually, when you think about it. But then I run for president. So 92% of the people that run for presidents, 92% were politicians and 8% were generals. So I wasn't a politician. I wasn't a general. So I was the only one that wasn't in that group. No, there were no admirals. They were all either politicians or they were sort of an interesting point. Most people don't know that. Some people said that's interesting.
That
Other
makes
people
sense
say
because
that's,
even Reagan would be a politician because he was a two-term governor.
well, he was a politician.
Right, he was a politician.
He was a governor.
Wow. Chat, your questions. Everyone was like, what about Reagan? What about Reagan? Patrick, but David, he answered it.
There was some that were businessmen, but they were then ran for the Senate or they were in Congress, and you know they went from there to the presidency. But nobody ever went right to the presidency. You know, I never ran for office. All of a sudden, I'm president, and I really learned about the press early in the hard way because I got great press, and then all of a sudden, I was treated like by a moron like that, and I fought them very hard. They're very dishonest. They're very corrupt. Not all of them, but a big percentage of them. I would say in the 80s, that's a lot. That's a lot. Big percentage. They're very corrupt. Very corrupt.
Have they always been? Has it always been the case? You've been around you know, media, TV.
I don't think it's ever
life.
been like this. Yeah, I've been around it for a long time. I don't think it's ever been like this.
When do you think it
You know,
flipped?
when I started off, Patrick, I used to have a story written about me, and without fail, somebody would call after the story was written but not published, and they were called fact checkers. Hello, sir. We're calling about a story that we wrote about you. Is it true that you own this? And is it true that you did this? And that you spent X dollars? Could we check that number? And it would go on for a while to a point where you'd get somebody else to just do it. But they, without fail, I'd have, if there were any details in a story, not always, but if there were any details, always, and they were called fact checkers. Hello, sir. My name's Jim Smith. I'm a fact checker for the New York Times. And they check the facts of a story. And I think they at least were trying to be real. I haven't had a fact checker call me in 30 years. You know, they don't call anymore.
Do you think that's because of the Fairness Doctrine Act of 1987? Because prior to that, the media platforms had to actually give both sides of the story.
I can hear the camera in the background. They're like snapping pickies. You guys hear that? The
story. And then once that was dropped, they lost the accountability. They could say whatever they want to say.
Or is it the chair swivel? Oh, Trump just swiveling in that squeaky ass chair.
And it was kind of free for all. Let me go after that.
Yeah, the media segment is kind of boring.
When you became a president,
let's see. Having Newsome, Elon, and Tim Cook.
Why wouldn't they want to have a strong border? I don't understand them because, usually like in business, you'll understand why somebody wants something. Why wouldn't they want to have a strong border? Why do they want to have men playing in women's sports? I watched the Olympics and 2 people transitioned into womanhood. 2 people. They went from man to woman and they were into boxing. And they beat the hell out of everyone. They won the gold medal. Weightlifting, records that held for 18 years, a quarter of an ounce on each side. You've seen me do it probably because it's so cool. I mean, weightlifting is so easy to, it's so descriptive, right? How can you be better than that? Like golf is a little bit harder because you have to sink putts. That's different. Women can putt, but they can't lift, 450 pounds over their head. And the weightlifting record that stood for 18, 19 years gets broken by 100 pounds. They put like a little, they take this top of this pen. See that pen? That thing weighs like 1/8 of an ounce. And they'd put one over here and one over. They couldn't do it for 18 years. So the guy comes along. It's crazy.
I mean, the border could make sense, though. If you were to say, like, why would they want the border to be
why
open?
Do they
there
want
could
an
be
open
argument
border?
To be made there.
Well, why do they want an open border with no check-in? In other words, there's nobody vetted, nobody checked. And as you heard 2 weeks ago, the Border Patrol put out the numbers. They weren't supposed to, but they did because they had to. Because they had to inherently, they endorsed me.
I saw that.
They
Powerful.
endorsed me. 100% unanimous.
Right.
Like a full, they said he's the greatest in the history of, I had the best border in the history of the country. I had the best economy in the history of the country. But you take a look at some of these stats. So yesterday, a young woman's playing volleyball. You saw that? And he got hit by a man who transitioned.
There's been many of those. If there was a new one yesterday.
She got hit in the head. She didn't know where she was.
Right.
She said, I've never seen a ball travel at that speed before. But here's why do they want that? I don't understand that. Usually you understand, like somebody wants something. You try and figure it out. And you could go through a lot of things. Why do they want transgender? Why do they want to take somebody's child, a boy, and make the boy into a girl and not tell the parents? I mean, they do this. And at first I said, no, but that's just an exaggeration. No, it's not. It's really not.
It's wild that his jump from border, like open borders, to transgender children happens so perfectly. He's just weaving again, dude. My goat is weaving. He's bobbing and he's weaving. Ay. This is underwhelming. I thought that this would be better. Oh, maybe Iran? Let's hear what he has to say about Iran, because Patrick Bet-David, he knows a lot about Iran.
Yay. I think if you would have
When I handed it over, I told them, right now, make a deal with Iran, they'll do anything. They want to make a deal with me. Had that election not been rigged and stolen, I will tell you right now, we would have no problems anywhere in the world. Viktor Orban, he's a very tough guy and a very smart guy. And he's, some of the European countries don't like him because he's,
sure,
smart.
Makes sense.
We have Trump's climate denier, feeding starving influencers, and also the strongest militia in the Middle East, Hezbollah. I'm skipping it. I'm going into Trump's a climate denier. These hurricane survivors still support him anywhere but Washington. One of my favorite types of content is when British people go into the